here, but yeah, I mean, just talking about what, is absolutely necessary. And, I don't know, when I played, the press box was actually a press box. Now I believe it's storage, right?
I don't think it's anything right now.
So,
I mean, did they clear that top?
Yeah, wasn't it? I think that was
It's
structurally.
sound,
oh, really? So that would be ideal for, announcers and music and stuff. I mean, I'm trying to create an entire atmosphere, like a stadium-like feel where there's music going, the lights are bright, it's drawing people in.
John, he was asking about back in our day when the press box was on top up there. Now that's unsafe now, right? The two-story
It
thing.
doesn't even exist.
Okay, that's what
The
we
edge
thought.
area, it's used, that's where we keep all our electrical.
Okay,
And that's where, I mean, that right now, that's got our 400. That's all electrical and then electrical conduit, stuff like that, and storage. I believe that's, isn't that correct, Brad? The second floor, we took the second floor out because of that.
Yeah, we took the second floor out, and that's all the electrical in there now.
But yeah. And these right here. This area
Anything in
here.
your plans for Old Park?
So I would actually love to bring that to life as well. The issue that I saw there is dimensions again. It's just not, I don't know if the city owns the land behind that, but that would be perfect. I mean, that would, if it could be a situation where we have the big boys playing on the old part and it's kind of isolated, and then you have your quad over here where you're running, your younger kids, your younger age divisions. That would be ideal. Parking is good there. It draws traffic to the park. I mean, it's right next to the country club.
You got 220 down the sidelines, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you got. The fields behind it and to the south of it belong to Mr. Story.
Okay.
So they're not ours. But again, there could be a setup where I guess maybe fencing if you needed it. But really, I don't have much space beyond that. We could get some, I'm sure. But again, then we don't have any lighting there either right now.
Right. Yeah, that would be.
So,
And the lights at that field now are really good, right? So that goes a long way.
Yeah. The field you're talking about, field 4 for the college age and high school age, short of just, I mean, if we can get by with the netting to get the height for an accurate height. I guess what I'm looking at there, surely there's something there that will tell us how high that net needs to be to make it realistic as far as a home run. And that would, the field itself, I think, is in pretty good shape.
Yes.
Now, the infield, we set it up where it's just baseline. Is that right now? Is that something like it is?
I think so. I don't know if you're familiar with Grace County's high school field, but they're all grass. Their field is
Even the baselines?
everything. The only thing is their sliding pits is what they
Yes.
call them, right around the bases, and they actually just have tarps that they put out, to save from weather and whatnot. But I mean, that's not unheard of. They actually they can take more weather that way.
I just didn't pay attention. My son played for Grace County, but I didn't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, and it might not have been, depending on when he was there. They've just redone it to where it's top notch now.
We're looking at, is it 80 foot or 90 foot on the baseline?
90.
90. That one is set up 70. I want to say it's 70, 80, and 90. We've got sets for that baseline in that field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Awesome.
So,
You can set like a green monster where like big guys got to hit up here.
Mhm.
That's it. If it's low, it bounces off.
Absolutely. Yeah, and honestly, from like a manager standpoint now, I think that would be an incredible atmosphere because you're bringing all these kids into this game, to these older games. What do they want to? They don't want to see strikeouts. They want to see bombs, right? So I mean, if you have that, I mean, I think the shorter fence is less of a concern to me than probably most, just because I'm a hitter, honestly, and
Okay.
I like home runs.
You like to
So-
see them go over.
Right, right.
We've shortened them over the years anyway.
Right, right.
Major leagues brought short.
Do you
Right.
see an issue? And I'm trying to think all the aspects we're having to deal with. Do you see an issue with that being a conflict between the Calvert City Baseball Association, who's been doing our ball fields all this time, and you? Is that a schedule that can be manipulated, you think, to work?
Absolutely. And I think that those two things can definitely coexist. I don't think that there's an issue at all with us having an adverse effect on them. I think it actually builds it, because what I'm trying to create is something for kids of all ability. Like it's not just the top tier kids or just the kids that just start playing baseball. It's literally everybody across the board. And what I'm trying to do with the older kids is create this atmosphere that's inviting, and to where kids are like, oh yeah, baseball is fun. It's not boring, like there's music there. We're throwing stuff out in the stands. I mean, it's a whole event. And I think it would be incredible if it was right here. I mean, if you can just think about, a midweek night and the lights are on, there's music going, and people are passing on Fifth Avenue, they're gonna look over, see the lights on, about what is going on over there. Looks like a party, and they're gonna come in, and pay whatever it is to go in and enjoy the game, because these kids, I mean, you're talking about if it just off the post grad kids, you're talking about kids from Cuba, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all over the place. I mean, you can't see that anywhere around here, so.
Parking is always an
I
issue.
was gonna say, we're parking out there.
We've already talked about that parking. I mean, there's not much.
No.
No, no.
We've added, but it's gonna be a walk. I mean, if you look at the parking up at the up around the basketball court, I mean, that parking there, we got a little at the pickleball and skate park area. And then down there, but that's basically our parking. I don't know where else, well, like, of course. I don't know.
I think parking's an issue right now.
Yeah, period. Yeah.
Period.
Once you get anything else going, yeah. Right, that's just our,
Because when there's a, little league games, it's
it's
packed.
packed. Sometimes it's packed if there's any there.
What do you anticipate as far as your draw, as far as people coming to see the games? Any idea?
Or in terms of the tournaments, or in terms of like the post grad games?
Just post-grade games.
I mean, I think anywhere on a midweek, anywhere from probably, we played at Mike Miller. We had one game at Mike Miller, and I think we had probably at any given time, we probably had 50 people there, which was exciting,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say the least. I mean, it was,
Because
there were
nobody's
people,
kids was there.
a lot, and they were throwing little ball, the squishy balls that we did at Fourth
I
of
mean,
July.
no one had kids playing in that group, I don't guess.
No, sir.
So that to draw somebody else.
Yeah, the only people that had kids there were the parents that drove to see them,
Yeah.
to see their kids. But I mean, there were people there that had no relation at all to anybody on the field, buying hats, buying shirts, throwing the little balls around and stuff. I mean, it was pretty cool. But again, we had, the music was going. It was a pretty cool little atmosphere.
So like when you see these tournaments going on, who would be sponsoring it? Would it be you yourself?
Yeah,
Or would it be?
We would do it all. I mean, we would essentially, I mean, I want to grow this, you know what I mean? And obviously I have a business that would run it, but the area would see a huge impact of it just from the traffic. But if we can get things going like this, we can make improvements like putting L screens on the fields, because right now there's one down there, but I took one in the shin at camp. But just things like that the park needs. That's the type of stuff that we want to be able to do to build the community, through athletics. That's the whole mission statement, is building a stronger community through athletics. And right now it's specifically baseball and softball. So that makes the most sense to, make those improvements.
What about concessions?
So what I had thought about, and I know I had talked to Ashley a little bit about this. In June, there's still leagues going on. She said that usually she's done by July, contingent upon rain and things like that. She just said that they try not to play on Saturdays and Sundays and don't play on Wednesdays. Well, that's perfect because that's the days that we would play. Yeah. So the idea that I had was that any tournaments or things that we do during the month of June, we would just split it with them. They would run the concession, or we could run it and we could split it with them or whatever. But they would see the benefit of having the tournaments there, I guess is what I'm getting at. Obviously, we wouldn't see any benefit of league games, things like that, but any like tournaments, things like that, we would help buy supplies and we would just split it with them. And with concessions, you're talking a substantial chunk of money. Anywhere from probably $1,000 to $2,000 a day. And that's in a weekend, and I'm trying to do this at least 8 weekends in a year. And that's just the summer. That's not including fall leagues, things like that. I did make that. I tried to make that clear to the league as well. It's like I want to help. Like I'm trying to be a supplement to what's already a good thing, and build the leagues here and just try to get people fired up about it.
How far do the teams come from for the weekend events? Are they?
Well, it's going to depend on the quality of the fields, honestly. Because at this point, travel baseball has become a venue type thing. People want to go to events where not only are the kids enjoying it, but the parents are enjoying it too, because it is an expense. That's why I feel like this is such a beautiful opportunity. It's because we're right at the lake. We can make things like state of play clauses where when they register for a tournament, we can be like, here's your hotels, and we can send them to the Kentucky Lake Inn or the Kentucky Dam Village, send them to Days Inn, whatever. And that's just an incentive, to help the community, and they're not going all the way to Paducah to stay. I think early on, you're gonna have a lot of local teams. You're gonna have, the same places that right now teams are traveling, like Mayfield, Sykes, Gerardo, places like that, Jackson, where we're going there, now we're gonna get them to come here. As it grows and our facilities improve, you're gonna continue to get more and more, more and more teams. Right now, I'm looking at 2-day tournaments. You can expand to 3 days. And then you're talking a big difference because you're getting another night stay for everybody.
Sure. Are you in the OVL now?
We're not.
Okay.
So there is a team that has approached me about basically becoming the Lake Area Rattlers. Well, I'm not going to say anything about who it is.
I didn't mean to get into that. I just,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's
okay.
it's moving.
my question was, I guess, was how close do you think we are from that happening?
So it's a pretty big chunk of change to get in the league,
Yeah, I knew.
but that's what we're working towards.
Sure.
And that's kind of what a lot of the capital that would be generated from events that would help that take place.
And that would be like teams in Fulton, Dawson Springs,
Hopkinsville.
is it Evansville as
There's
well?
up in Boy, Indiana, that's fun.
Yeah,
That's
Boyd County
that's our
Bombers.
spending all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's so the coach of our post grad
Huntington or
team.
something like that too.
Yeah.
up North.
And there's one in Nashville. There's just one full count rhythm. So Bryce Wills, the head coach for our post grad team, actually coached for the Boyd County Bombers last year when they won the league.
Yeah, I heard him on the radio. We were driving up to vacation last summer and I'm like, what is this game? It was range.
It's a big deal. Legion ball used to be the thing.
Yeah.
Calvert City Legion, post 31, post 26 out of Mayfield. It's gone.
Yeah.
There is no more Legion ball, and it is strictly OVL. The league is growing very quickly to the point where the president told me he's actually thinking about capping it because there are 12 teams right now. he knows that I'm wanting in. He said that we would be 13. And he's thinking about having it. at
But this is
14.
college age people still.
Yes,
It does
sir.
still say what he said.
Yes, sir, yeah. You know? Yeah.
Watch him play Dawson Springs and Fulton one time at Dawson Springs. It was all fun.
You might have watched me play. That's what
I did.
I played for Fulton, yeah. Tradewater is
It's a big
actually,
brawl there that night. I was there. It was just-
Do you remember that one? No.
It was terrible. It was like, yeah, cool.
don't think that was me.
Big brawl.
I have no recollection
Yeah.
of that.
I have no idea. So,
Flash off camera.
yeah, right. So that used to be, yeah, that would have been close.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Stop, James.
So.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Right. So that was the Tradewater Pirates.
Yeah.
Played out of that old,
Yeah.
it was up in old pro stadium.
Pittsburgh Pirates just
Mhm.
franked.
So I mean, what are we talking like cost wise for one of these things? I mean, I have no idea.
See, I don't know. It depends on length and how much you got to do. Put up.
And I wanted to talk to you guys and kind of see where you all were. And then, I can help do whatever in terms of getting cost and things like that. I know the biggest expense, if we're talking post-grad OVL, the biggest expense on that field is going to be stands. I mean, because there's just not enough seating. And I know from what I have seen, like the stands that we have at the high school, I want to say they're around $8,000, but I mean, they're nice.
Yeah.
But that's what you're gonna want. Now, I do know that teams in that league have operated out of city parks before, and they actually made it attractive to everybody to bring like lawn chairs, and you can just put them up next to the tents.
Yeah.
But, and that's not unheard of either.
That's not.
Yeah. Especially short.
Yeah, SEMO does that. They do a lot. That's actually their attraction is that. They've done it for years, and Murray does too.
Yeah.
Now, how does the netting work? It's
So,
gonna be vertical and it's
yeah, what,
in the net, is it considered a double?
so, no, I mean, you play it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very tight.
So it'll bounce off.
Yes, so you would basically somehow you would put, a super tall pole on each thing, and then it's just like a pulley system. I think you could even raise it and lower it. So like in the winter, if you don't want moisture and ice sitting on it, weighing it down and pulling the poles
You're
in.
better off taking it down.
Just take it down.
Just like our canopies over the
Mhm.
play structures down there.
And from what I have seen, the net cost is very small. I mean, it's just a net, and I think a lot of the adjustments, I don't even want to call them renovations because I feel like they're minor, are things that we are probably more than capable of doing, and not having to contract it out or whatever. Because
So
it's,
would you just extend the field to all the light poles and just mount the nets?
Well,
on the
there's
light
not that
poles?
much space to extend, so I don't see that being an issue, being the option. The option is putting the netting in.
I mean, talking about just the light poles.
So you just, well, I know, but you're not talking about 5 feet, and the
Right.
money to do that 5 feet is gonna be like putting in a new fence.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, you're better off, if you're gonna do that, is to deal with the netting and then put some money into the bleachers or into the stands that you're gonna utilize, because it's better served, because you're never gonna get those fields out to where they need to be without a net. So might as well just use the net instead of putting the extra money into the fence.
I'm just thinking you're gonna have to erect some kind of a pole.
Well, they're gonna have to, yeah, but that pole will be, there'll be a series of poles with
Cheaper
netting in
than-
between the poles, yeah.
Been moving.
And you're gonna have to do that regardless on the left field side anyway, because you've got nothing else to do.
Right.
And then on the right field, center and right field, again, I don't think you're gonna get 10
Well,
feet.
You have to have you had to have a bullpen back there, and not having room back there anyway.
right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I truly believe that the better option would be, and you tell me what you think, we put the netting in that is required and work on the other, because I think that trying to move that is gonna be a call, and that's just an assumption on that, but I'm thinking that moving that's gonna probably be more than it's gonna gain us, is what I'm thinking, just to move it 10 feet or so. And again, I have to look and see, But I'm thinking that unless we can get substantial distance, I don't know that it's gonna be worth it. Where the fence, if we go focus on the
Players
netting,
are okay with hitting it off of that. I've never played it. I've just always played the
Yeah.
old fences and stuff.
when I played at Fulton, we actually had, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, and then we played our right fielder in,
Okay.
almost like
They're
a,
just-
like
they
a
just get
rover.
used to it. Okay.
Because when it hits that net,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kick back. Sometimes you could actually throw them out at first base. And that's the thing, our fields aren't even that drastic.
Okay.
I mean, you're still gonna have to get into one
yeah.
to get it out, especially if you put a net.
And again, I'm still thinking that it's not there for the protection like it is at Fulton. I think it's there because they're protecting parking lots and police and public.
right.
But where this one right here would be, this is your home run. area. You know, if it hits the net and falls back in play, then the net is at the height that anything beyond that would have been a home run. I'm thinking, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So I really don't know that would be.
No, it would be. They don't, I just don't, the players, it matter to them playing like that, like in Boston or whatever. I mean, they've gotten used to it for years.
They play off the bounce.
They have the
They
bounce.
learn that bounce, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, you learn how.
There was one hitter on left or whatever.
So we're talking two different things here, right? We're talking about the Little League tournaments. You want that first.
Right,
and then
because
build
that's what's gonna really allow everything to happen, because everything that we've done has been kind of a staged process. Stage one is kind of get a core group of kids and families that buy into the whole grow, develop, compete, ideal and buy into it 100%. Stage two is building the community up, making an impact in the community and getting everybody to buy into it. And then stage three, and that's kind of where we are right now, is stage two. Stage three is OVL and beyond. I mean, once we get the OVL team, it opens up a ton of opportunity. Honestly, I think it opens up opportunities for hotels, restaurants, all sorts of things, just because of the whole atmosphere shifts. And I do know, for what it's worth, that the league president is all for it. He said he's been trying to get somebody to do something like this in our area for years. And he said, I never could find the guy. And I told him, I said, well, I'm here now.
Who's the president now?
John Bruce. He was the GM for Hoptown.
Okay.
Yeah. And now he's the president.
Do you have the minimal dimensions necessary for each age group?
I do. I don't think I brought them, but I can definitely email them to you. I know for the girls, softball, and so is field 3, the one that's closest to the parking lot, is that right?
Yeah.
That one, you want them to be 225 to 250, ideally, for youth. And then if the smallest field, if we could get that one to at least play like 200 foot, that would be perfect. And you can put the little ones on that one, and then your 10 and 11s on the next one over, and then 12s and 13s on the one closest to the parking lot, and then 14 and up on the back one. However, if we get
So
the
you're
whole
talking about
park,
field 1 being 200 feet.
if possible, yeah.
And I think the problem with that is you're gonna get into the T-ball fields.
Yeah.
To try to make that 200.
That's gonna be a major
Yeah.
overhaul right there,
Yeah.
because that's gonna mean lights, fencing. So that's a major overhaul on that.
Mhm.
And then having to displace and move the T-ball. We need to come.
Well, John, what other, I mean, if you had to displace something, where even could you really go?
I don't know. I have to do some looking and see. I really don't know at this point.
See, all this area is disc golf, of course. It seems
Disc
open.
golf or soccer.
Yeah, right. It
So
seems like it's
all
open.
it's committed property, isn't it, pretty much? I mean, you have to really reinvent something.
Now,
So-
the other option, think about it also, is we built the old park field to meet high school
Yeah.
soccer, softball. That is, the dimensions on it are set up for high school softball.
Okay.
So, but it would require, again,
You could either
it's gonna require
put it
lighting
in or-
probably, and then the fence. We never did put the fence in, but it would require fencing and lighting at that point. But that might give you the option and not displace the others.
Yeah.
And still give you that
Yeah.
200.
And it
feet that you
utilizes
need.
the other part. Yeah.
And it breaks up some of the crowd too, because we've installed parking there that we didn't have before.
And I mean, we could still use that. We could let teams use that field for getting loose or whatever. I mean, that would actually be a good option.
So, I mean, that, again,
Little relief valve kind of thing, where you put something else there, if you need to.
true, overflow or whatever.
One of the main reasons that I thought that the old park would have been a cool option too is just because it's so close to the country club. And people could get down playing golf and then be like, oh, rather than playing, let's go over there, you know? And
Plus you see, it too.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah,
Right.
I wish there was more
Yeah,
room in
it'd be,
there.
that'd be ideal. I think it's separated too.
So we need more options for the other fields without having to really get into the T-ball fields. That's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty neat.
I'm a dreamer. What can I say? But I do think it's doable, and I think that, you know, I do think it would fit well here.
Is there a way we can, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping in, but is there a way we can find out or set up, help whoever to find out what height we need on that? Because I know it's going to differ
Yeah.
on the different areas of the field.
So I did try to figure it out. Math was not my strong suit, and it's like differential equations, and it's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
I can relate. We've got some engineers that might can do that. You know?
There you go.
So, but I'll be glad to sit down and just to see what we can do with that one and see if we can move forward. Or what we could find out what it would take to move forward anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's a very doable thing. And the only way we can move forward with it, to me, is to get that in there.
Yeah.
But I still think it's doable. And I don't think it's an out. I don't know until we actually put pen to paper and see, because right now, of course, metal prices are going up, but at the same time, you know, there's only one way to see is it's what we find out what we gotta have, and then go find out what it costs.
I think you'd have to move the T-ball field behind field one. That would have to, if you were gonna expand that field. I don't see any way around that.
Which I don't think there was much room between the fence and the light poles anyways on that field,
No,
I
we'd
don't
have to move,
believe.
everything would have to move.
Yeah.
What is the space right here? Is that just kind of low lying, or, you know, like to the west of that field? You know,
Well, it's just, this is the field, and then we've got that, and we put the lighting right in here. You see
Mhm.
this and this and this is
Yeah.
lighting. What would have to transpire is that field gets bigger, the poles have to get taller, the lighting has to get larger. And then, of course, you're moving the fencing as well.
Mhm.
Now, to get out to 200, you're gonna be, I'm not sure that we could even have, T-ball would have to move, it would have to move out here.
yeah, that's what I was asking, if that was available.
But that's on the edge. I don't know. I'd have to look and see for sure, because that's on the edge of the T-ball or the disc golf.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it needs to be somewhat accessible from the sidewalks.
Right.
That's part of that.
And I think it could be if you kept on coming out from the little play area. You see what
Extend
we're
that
talking
out.
about
That's
outside of
possible.
one.
But now you're talking about coming out 200 and you're probably what, 120 there maybe?
I think it was 125.
125.
Not very far.
So does T-ball have to have his own, can they not play on regular field? I mean, I was there a long time ago, that they play on regular fields too, you know, if there's an overlapping time.
You could, I think.
It's the biggest thing is
so
all
much
about the
more
time.
Time.
And you only need 50 feet.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, you don't have enough, there's not capacity to do that. 'cause you're
So we
so
just
much
have a
other
bigger
at the same time. Really.
precipitation rate.
Participation
Participation
rate.
rate.
I know where you're at. Yeah, I know where you're at.
Participation rate for T-ball.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
Actually, you know, we actually keep the three fields busy at work.
They are, okay.
It's probably one of the biggest that we've
Yeah,
got.
okay, that's my question, I guess.
That's the biggest section we got right now.
That's good then.
And then once they get up into the others, then they start jumping into the traveling teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once they get into the traveling
Town
teams,
go
then
downhill.
the ones that leagues that we have here,
Oh, they drop off.
they drop off because some are not gonna be able to get into the traveling team, so.
You have a kid, you think. they're
I think- I
playing
think-
major.
yeah,
That's
think
like-
One year in T-ball, you figure it out they're not. It's on to soccer.
Yeah, I would just like to see the cost of the fencing and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's the main thing, right? I'm just trying to figure something.
Well, I think just trying to figure out where we put T-ball fields, I think too.
Well, yeah, trying to work everything in.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but I think it's gonna take some, we're going to have to work it out somehow, if we do something like that. If we make this one larger.
I mean, you could possibly.
And you're saying 200, Tyler?
200 would be, yeah, that would be
Minimal.
good. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, 100 foot or 125 foot is, you can't really get any sort of tournament on that field.
It's fine, I'm sorry.
So yeah, 200 would probably be ideal. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We would fill the, on a tournament weekend, we would definitely fill the parking lot. I mean, it would be a super busy, the park would be really busy.
I don't disagree with that.
I know I ask this all the time, but this area right behind us, that can't be parking? Is it too low?
We don't own that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
It
the
could be
thing.
parking, has been parking.
It's Cammy's granddad. isn't it?
And well, it's kind of like this. I mean, we maintain it so we could utilize it for parking for the time being. And I mean, we're still mowing it. So as long as they tell us, you know, the agreement was if we're mowing it or maintaining it, we can park there. Well, that's my understanding of it. And in fact, of course, if we can't park there, then we're done mowing it, I would think.
Yeah.
Because that's the service that we get for what we do, to
Right.
keep maintaining it. So yeah, right now, parking could go there.
That would be a
But
good spot for-
that's not a guarantee. You know, if it were to sell or something like that, then we might have an issue. So,
If it were to sell, I would hope that we might be a candidate.
you want to drop by sometime? Let's work some numbers out.
Yeah,
See if I
absolutely.
can get some stuff going so I can actually get some quotes and stuff like that. And if you got sources and stuff of that nature, that's fine too. I'll work with them as well. So we'll know. Because we're right in the middle. We're not in the middle. We're actually in the beginning of the budget for this coming year. And this is part of what they do. So if we can get them the information they need, then that gives us something to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just tell me what works for you, and I'd love to. I love this stuff. So,
Well, if you've got, I mean, during the weekday is not good for you. If you can do one evening or something like that, just let me know and I'll stay over. We'll work on it to try to figure out what we need. And I'll try to draw a layout for us to find out so we can actually present that to people to get information. Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a
guys.
lot.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you guys.
It's a tough line.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any more visitors?
We just love seeing Blair.
I just came because, I saw in the minutes that it talked about the golf cart etiquette.
Mhm.
And today it texted me about it today. And, I met with Nathan Brandon last week and we're gonna work on this spring, once it gets a little bit warmer, and then kind of a how to, drive a golf cart in Calvert City.
Hey, listen, I hope that this takes off because I've seen it in other communities where they have these little public information sets and we can set that up on Facebook. I think it's gonna be great for the community. So I hope that takes off and works.
There should be lots of people attending.
We're gonna work on,
There wasn't.
yeah, and then we're gonna work on a map too that kind of tells where you can go and, I know it's,
Don't drive at an angle across the parking lot.
Right, yeah,
stuff like that.
kind of work on some of those roles. So if anybody wants to be an actor in the, I already recruited Danae, so, and her
So I
family.
can't even thumb back it this way. It's really all on the board, you know?
I would be happy to put you guys on the video.
We need the Parks Board to step up and
Right.
be actors in this.
Hey,
That would
I
be
can't
the
tell you
way.
how many miles we put on our golf cart, so we are definitely, we are definitely a candidate.
That's, and I came to support Tyler because he came to me and to talk to me about it, and it sounded really interesting, and I asked him to get some community, see what the community thought about it, and he had a really good report from that. Like, well, we need to get you in the Parks Board meeting, so. Anyway, that's fine, that's all I got.
We'll get him sit down. We'll sit down and find out. I'll try to get the information that we need so we can figure out what the cost is gonna be and break it up into segments too, if we need to,
Right,
that way, so it's
yeah,
not.
that's what I was gonna say. It may
Yeah.
not all be at once, but
Start on
Grow it a
one,
little
start on
bit, yeah.
first. But I'll sit down with him and we'll get something up for you guys.
sure, because I think that's what the council will wanna know,
Sure.
obviously, the cost benefit ratios here, so.
He's providing the service too, it's something we could hire someone to do this. But basically, that's kind of, to me, that's how I visualize it, is that he's almost like a contractor, that we're contracting with him to provide this service to the community.
And one thing I was kind of getting at I was kind of dancing around it, but so would he pay the city a certain amount for each team that registered for a tournament?
Yeah, well, tournaments are actually right now, if you have a tournament, it's so much per team. It's
Okay,
a
that's what I'm
small
thinking.
fee, but it's a small fee for that. And there's a light fee and a field fee. But those fees are small.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they'll make more off of registration and revenues from the sales of concessions. That won't be an issue.
I think we're also looking at manpower, keeping the bathrooms and all that stuff, though. You gotta think about things like that.
Yeah.
Because I've been at a lot of these tournaments. believe me.
Anytime you're doing an event like that, there's certain things that are gonna be, I mean, right now, CCBSA is almost self-sufficient. There are things that we do as far as prepping fields and stuff like that, but after that, as far as the games go, we give them the materials, I guess, for the bathrooms and stuff like that. A lot of times they'll take care of it, or my God, the staff will fill those prior to. Now, if there was a situation where we needed to have somebody on staff there would necessarily, if we're not co-sponsored, there would be a fee to that, because there's no, we'll just hire off to the side, but if it's in the city, then we got everything that goes with it. But I mean, it's the price of doing business if that's the way we want to go. We just have to figure that in. Go
I'm interested to see how all the costs come back for the netting and stuff, but I don't know that it's long-term that we have the facilities.
Yeah, I kind of wanted that too. It's like we're gonna grow it real quick, but
Yeah.
if you didn't think so, I mean, cross that bridge when you get to it, maybe.
So that's where we have to weigh the cost versus, the gain. All right, so budget.
Okay. What I would like, and speaking of budget tonight, what I would like to hear from you all are some of the items or ideas that you might have. We've heard something from Mr. O'Daniel about the baseball and softball and getting ready for tournaments and stuff. But what I'd like to know is what you guys have in mind for the coming year. And then we also are looking at trying to feed us a pickleball. We're looking at, we've already talked about adding bathrooms, facilities throughout the system. But is there anything else that you guys want us to investigate so that we can maybe do some shopping and see what we've got, see what we need to do and what it costs, so you would have something to work with. Of course, like I said, right now we're looking at the bathroom, a full-size setup, like we've got right now, the other two, and then two unisex bathrooms. One for the west side over here, and then one for the,
Pickleball area.
well, no, that would be the full size.
Okay.
The other unisex would be down at the tennis court.
Okay.
So that way, the tennis court, all our facilities then would have something that was usable.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you guys have anything else at the moment? I mean, if you
think-
don't, that's fine, give me a call and we'll work from there too.
Did the soccer association get with you yet?
But
Okay. I told them to, so.
I think we're just a point, we're just see where things kind of fall, what does.
Well,
What does this get, kind of use does this get once we put this in?
Sure.
Are we gonna look to do some upgrades once we put it in? Want to put any kind of ramps or ondulation, or what do we need to do? But as far as the facilities, it's kind of open right now.
Yeah.
I want to finish up pickleball court and the restrooms and see how it all looks and what do we really need. I think we're just,
What did we think about paving the other part of the walking trail in Memorial Park on the other side? That goes over there by where we.
Well,
wait for traffic.
we haven't because we haven't actually gotten lights and stuff like that. And we want to make sure that I've got to go back and read because I'm seeing some conflict in a property line that Brad and I need to investigate. But I think that if we need to do the electrical and the water lines and do those and get that ready. The dense grade's there.
Mhm.
So basically it would be when we're ready for the asphalt, then we go. And do you want to do the asphalt before we do the lights and the water lines? Or would you rather do those first?
I think we should do water lines and lights first. That way you don't tear up anything you've already put in.
Okay. And those would probably have to be on the inside of that walking trail as opposed to the outside. Outside right now is a drainage ditch we created. Brad, when he put it in with a drainage ditch that helps carry the flow. So it would mean that we would need to put the lighting in the water. And the water I'm talking about would be for, whether it be for hose and sprinkler or potable drinking water. It would be set up for that, and the others would be an option. So, but we were looking at looping that. Is that not correct, Brad?
Yeah, we were gonna try to loop that around there, but it'd have to go on the inside of the trail. If not, we'd be over on Rogers' property by the time we got it in.
Exactly. And the south side that we just added on, if we keep the U12 there, then it's going to be difficult for us to put a walking trail in around it because it extends to the boundary almost. So
It was actually what we found, John, was the woods aren't even ours. They're along the edge of that. We thought we went up into the woods, but the property line's actually out in the grass. So there's not enough room. If we built a trail, you probably wouldn't have enough room for a soccer field.
that's what I was thinking. I don't think we've got the room to put a loop trail around it and keep the soccer field unless we move that soccer field or if we were realign some stuff. I don't know that it's necessary, and I'm not sure that's the issue. Right now, we've got it. It fits. If we start doing a whole lot as far as trail work goes, then we may lose that ability to have it there.
I think it's kind of a wait and see.
Okay. So, so you want to look at don't forget the bathrooms, and you want to look at infrastructure for the east side of Memorial Park.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else at this time?
Well, I think we've got Old Park. I think we're just kind of waiting to see how the playground structure pans out. And then try
I
to
think
see
it's-
what we need after that.
I think once everything gets here and it gets installed, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a large one. It's gonna take in a whole lot more area than we had before. And it's gonna go, they'll have the 2 to 5 section, and you'll have the 5 to 12 section, which are together, but not the same structure. So, and it's gonna cover probably more ground, but it'll take up a lot of that room, I think, nicely in there and fit. If we have to tweak it to fit, we can tweak it.
What about fencing? Would you need to repair any repairs, to put anything in budget for repairs like around home plate or any of the fencing? Was it all good?
I'm not aware of anything since those are all fairly new fields. Every one of them have been done. But Brad, do you know of any maintenance on that we need? Because we put almost all of them, we put a base on there for that fencing to keep it from curling.
Mhm.
And that was part of the project, the bid specs on almost all of them.
I'm not aware of anything right now that needs repairs, but, I'll have the guys look. We put up those, the rubber backstops back behind because it was, they were damaging the fences so bad with the balls, but I'll have them check and make sure. I think everything's in pretty good shape though.
Well, field 3, a lot of the clay infield surface washes out. Is there anything we can put back there to keep that from washing out into the parking lot?
Not and create a dam. To do that, we're gonna have to create a dam.
With drain properly.
Yeah, and it's just got a natural flow where it comes off like that, but there's no ditch to catch that in.
They worked on that. You're talking about field 3?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was all washing out the gate real bad over by the dugout.
oh, okay.
And, they went in and done some work. We put a little pipe in and helped some of that, but it does, just the way the field slopes, it's gonna kind of wash back towards the
It's low.
backstop.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, we just have to drag it back up once a year usually and work it up.
Have we heard any requests from disc golf people recently? Or?
I did have, you know, I had someone reach out wanting to do a tournament.
Oh, that'd be great.
No.
So I think I have a meeting with him beginning of March to talk about it and see what he needs from us. So, but he said Calvert had the perfect fields for the tournament. So yeah.
We've got, when the guy that actually designed ours was out of Bowling Green, and utilizing it, we looked at Old Park and utilized it as a technical course. And then we had some distance courses, or I guess holes on the
Links or something.
Yeah, there had more distance on the back here behind City Hall in Doctor's Park. So yeah, they just not together, unfortunately. So, yeah, I didn't work. We hadn't had it. We've had 2 tournaments here. When we first got it, we had a tournament, and I think we've had 1 since then. I'd love to see another one.
I'm glad because I don't have a clue how to play. So hard to play on an event when you don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Like golf.
It is.
I know we talked about this before. I don't remember where it went, but banners for the light poles in Memorial Park. I would love to see that. I know they're expensive, but I
I can
would
work
love
on
to see that.
Okay, we'll just look at putting something in the budget.
I know they make seasonal ones, and I don't think it would have to be up and down Fifth Avenue or anything like that. I think maybe just.
No, we don't have the arms on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
We've got them in the park,
Okay.
but we don't have them on Fifth. Because actually, those poles down on Fifth Avenue are not ours. We lease those from the electric company.
Oh, okay.
All right, where the one in the park are ours.
Hey, John.
Sir.
I don't know if this is really proper to be in the Parks Board, but there's been mention of increasing the trail width on the trail at Doctor's Park from Civic Center down and around to make it wide enough for a multi-use trail. Is that in the budget for this year?
No, it's not. That's
Okay.
Right now, I believe it's 9 feet, isn't it, Brad? I think it's 9 feet.
Yeah, I
already.
believe it worked out to be about 9 feet wide
And
this
that
last
is-
time.
It's supposed to be 10 feet, but we are allowed, was it 8 feet on bridges for it to be a multi-use setup? I mean, it can be utilized currently as a multi-use. I would think the next time we pave it, we need to expand it another foot, give us that full. But yeah, the last time we paved it, we actually widened it some. We just widened it.
I was under the understanding it was not, so I might have some bad information there. But with the gravel lane back down along the railroad tracks, it goes out to Railroad Avenue. So I mean, right now it's not marked really for multi-use. I know it is used that way for bicycles and golf carts and just about anything. But there'll be more pressure on that once we get that other little gravel lane down to Railroad Avenue. Also, there's a need, and I don't know for sure this is really a Parks Board thing, just laying out the vision. There's a need for some more lights between Old Park and on down to Lone Valley Road. So if you get some,
That would be a streets issue, yeah.
that gets real dark real quick. And
Yeah,
with the
agreed.
with the other tie-in, hopefully, knock on wood, of getting the other segment of the bike trail in. So you'll have a segment. If you do that all the way from Railroad Avenue all the way through, to Kentucky Dam, right? So hopefully we can realize that. So that is a parks thing, or that's a road budget. We put those lights on, and we'll get to that.
Street deal. Those are street lights along that.
Yeah, there's a need for one up around the Texas. There's one that's needed at Texas Gas there, and then there's a whole string of them there. Once you cross back over Fifth and go up to Lone Valley, it gets really dark, pretty bad, pretty crazy. And some of that may fit in and tie into the parks light system there on one end, maybe. But okay. I'm tuning in tonight to learn about Mr. O'Daniel's proposal, so I'm listening. And now I'm talking, so I'm gonna go back on mute.
Oh, you're fine.
I had some people. Can you guys hear me? Am I muted? Okay, now you can hear me. I had some people interested in a community garden. And I was even thinking, and this could be like never, this could be 10 years down the road, this could be a terrible idea because it sounds like a lot of work. And I would say I garden every year, but I basically get 3 tomatoes every year that are halfway decent. So I'm not saying I want to head this up, or nor can I. But even like I was thinking, and this might be down the road, but like an arboretum of sorts, like where we have different kinds of trees and, in our parks or on the trails. That have we labeled our trees? I can't remember if we have or not. I feel like I can see myself seeing labels on trees in Calvert, but then I'm like, I don't know about that.
We have not.
I think somebody talked to us about that.
Have we?
I think we've discussed it, but I don't think we went any further.
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So those are kind of 2 different ideas, but since we're like in the brainstorming mode, community garden and an arboretum of sorts, or just something along those lines, maybe.
Well, you know that the Presbyterian Church has a community garden already, or do you?
Oh, and it's on my road. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't really realize it was community on my street
for 3 years now. So I mean that's actually, there is one in the community. So
Okay, well, great. Okay, I'll tell the person that asked me that it's actually on his road.
Okay, and like I don't have anything against the community garden. It's just I'm not sure where I was going.
I'll tell him just to drive down his road, and then I can drive down my road because we live in the same place.
That's hilarious.
I guess I was thinking that was just their church garden. No, I don't know. Okay, well, good. Maybe I can talk to them.
I'll tell you what.
I'm glad
though,
when stuff's already happening.
We actually are members of the Arbor Day Foundation. The city is. And so I think that, that's something we probably ought to look into, is actually doing some identification like that.
Tree City.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, we haven't been to Tree City. I don't
And
know
like
if-
getting,
I don't know if we're certified for that still.
On the
That
side,
was
used to
back in the
be.
day.
on the side up front.
Well, I know. Okay.
what did you say that was again? Arbor what? What are we part of?
The Arbor Day Foundation. We're members of that. So
Okay.
that's not a bad idea. I mean, that's just an educational spot. as well, and it's basically identifying and
Right.
sticker some signs up.
And Blair, who is the
And maybe
gentleman?
adding a new tree that we don't have around here
He's at Milton.
every once in a while.
Yes, I thought of him immediately. I mean, he can tell you anything about anything.
Well, he actually wanted to.
Who's she talking about?
John Tilson.
He
I don't
asked
know.
me-
Okay.
I love
He's a geologist. He'll have signs on the rocks.
Yeah, he talked, he wanted.
That would
to
be
have
great.
different- He wanted to have different rocks displayed in the park and what the rock is, what it does,
Yes.
where it's from,
Yes.
what it's made of, but he did.
That would be awesome.
Concern is where the space
Yeah.
for all this.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't see
yeah.
much space available.
I mean, if
We
you
got
want to
space.
find where they are currently, I think that's,
Advertise them maybe or something.
I mean, that to me, it's like, if you want to see what that is in its natural environment, and there's a sign to tell that, I think it's not a bad idea. Although it's gonna be difficult to keep one in a creek. Next time it floods, it may not be there again. However, the trees and other items, it's not a bad idea. It's an educational thing.
Yeah.
Well, see, if you've ever been to Old Catawba, there where the Silver Cliffs are, they used to have a bunch of trees up there that had labels on them. White oak tree, black oak tree,
Oh,
elm
you could do
tree.
it on the mountain bike trail.
Oh, yeah. that'd be
Oh,
great.
that's not a bad idea either.
We've got somebody on the city's payroll that could assist with that.
Yes, we do.
Silas is a degree
Silas,
forester.
I don't know about trees.
I was talking about Blair.
Blair's good at putting signs up.
We'll get the two of them together. It's done. Get Blair the sign person and Silas the tree person. and
Sign lady.
they'll-
Not tree.
Voila.
Gosh, and we've already done the community garden, so just check all my stuff off. I'm done. I'll see you guys later. I'm joking.
Okay, so, all right, so we're going, the baseball, the bathrooms, infrastructure on the east side of the Memorial Park, banners for the light poles, and then, tree identification.
No, with that gravel trail connector from Railroad Avenue, are we gonna want to put any kind of lighting down through there?
Maybe at some point, I'm not sure that that's where we're gonna go at this point. I don't know. I don't know that we're gonna have them out there at dark doing mountain biking in a trail. I hope not, because if it is,
No, but I could see the golf carts going.
they're doing that now. They got headlights
Yeah, true.
now. Four-wheelers are making better use of it than the golf carts are right now. Have you heard anything? Is a 9-foot still okay for a multi-use? Is that, or is it just the bridge that extends to, or do you know?
I don't know.
I want to look into that some more before I
Yeah,
I mean, I think we need to
Isn't
make
there
it
a creek or something down
where
there? At the Moneymakers where Railroad Avenue
there's a
is?
slough down there.
Right, so how do they get does it make there a bridge or something?
We're gonna have to put in some culverts so the water can pass through and you can go over. Yeah, that's part of what Brad has been talking, we've talked to them about previously. So,
There's entrance concerns down there to get squared up so you can enter that trail, and there's going to be concerns to try to make sure we don't have cars and pickups going through there. And there's people accessing the park system that way all the time anyway. And there was a city sewer right away that had cleared off some stuff in city ground. It just made a lot of sense. And somewhere down the line, to answer your question, David, somewhere down the line, it may be on the radar screen to pave it, maybe put some lights down through there. But right now, just baby steps is what I have envisioned. But it's in the budget for a gravel trail to do more control of access and quit being a liability down on the money makers. And I think that they're interested in that, and we were interested in access. It was a deal that was made in heaven, so it's hard to pass up.
Oh, I agree. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and they've been doing a marvelous job.
It says 10 feet for a multi-use trail.
Yeah,
Look it up.
I know that that's the given. I know that they can give you that, but less 9 feet or 8 feet on a bridge to be okay. Now, I don't know that extends to the actual trail. because I know 10 feet is the base on that. But we do need, we'll have to make that other a quote unquote legitimate multi-use, even though it is already, we need to extend the base and another foot to get that to be a 10-foot.
Makes sense.
So. I don't think we can look into it, but that's gonna be, I think that would be best done at our next time we have to do maintenance on it. But I don't, we can look at it.
I
So,
agree. I mean, why do you want to mess with something that's just been repaved in the last couple of years?
yeah,
When it needs repairs, it'd be the perfect time to expand it. I mean, we've gotten so much done in the last 10 years that
Yeah,
our list is just getting smaller and smaller.
but the main thing I always say.
I know. I'm always thinking, I guess we'll just maintain.
I'm
Yeah.
proud of our parks.
Mhm.
That's all I can.
we will have some more. I think we're gonna have some more space north in that little area between the public works and the walking trail over there on the east side, north of where the pickleball is. I think we're gonna have some room there still. But we're quickly running out of usable space there.
Yeah, well,
I mean, we've gotten so much in there. It's just,
we can't be too hasty to fill it up either. Something
do
that
something that
really
you're sure
fits
that's,
may
yeah,
come along.
exactly. But there's a possibility that we may have some extra fill coming out of the detention basin that we could utilize there to help build up something. We'll just have, I'll have to see what that is. We don't know exactly what we're gonna have, but if we've got enough, that was the thought of bringing some in there to bring up that area somewhat to build it up as well.
And speaking of-
I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned retention basin. The retention basin plan, as it's being executed, John, does that scope include a trail around that?
It's a good question. I thought it did, but I'll have to do some checking to verify.
I don't remember seeing it on the plans, John.
It's not, well, then it may be that there's gonna be space for it, but it may not have been added to that bid.
It was on some of the conceptual drawings that were shared with the council and other places in the public. And I think it'd be a great addition for that particular area to benefit from.
Yeah, good. Well, I mean, just to start, a good dense grade walking trail around the levee or the high ground would be, great for that. So. Because that's gonna be a sizable area in itself. That'll be a good sized walking trail in and of itself.
Talk about like a pollinator, or like pollinator garden or something.
Looks like the butterflies and the flowers. Planting that stuff. I remember one of the council meetings, we talking about that. I thought it's been a while, but maybe with the engineer, they're talking to them. And that, like you said, that could have been just in the future. Who knows? Yeah.
Because I'm sure it did. I just don't remember hearing it. So, or maybe I was done. If I did, I apologize. I don't remember.
Another opportunity that Calvert City has. First off, let me brag on you guys. Comments that I get, the people observing on Calvert, and really high marks for our park system. That's a big impact for the community, and it's very visible and highlighted this summer with all the hard work and the 150 celebration. I think a lot of folks got up here, and people are saying, "Oh, well, Calvert City's really got it going on." And they'll talk to me about park stuff that I know has been in existence for 4 or 5 years, but it's really getting noticed. And I think it's the hard work of this committee that's doing a lot of that. But we do have another opportunity for Calvert City, and I'm going to call it an opportunity, is the care and feeding of Haddock's Ferry. That had been priorly done with the county. It is a lease to the city of Calvert City from the plant down there. And so we've got a lot of ability to do a lot of things. And so it fits very well into Tennessee Riverline type stuff. And Blair and I have had done some just cursory talking about that. But the care and feeding of that particular point in the Tennessee River there, I mean, the Tennessee River below Kentucky Dam going to Paducah is a rare thing. And it's a very important part of the Tennessee River line and just our river heritage altogether. And so there's some stuff that's going on down there, and my intention is to work with Tennessee River Line and others and try to get a master plan for how that place could be vastly improved in its utilization. Now, bear in mind it floods. We've all seen that pavilion down there up to the roof line in water. So that's just something. I don't know how much the Parks Board needs to worry about that right now. Just, put that out there on the radar screen. And, it's my idea is how do you, it's pretty easy to connect that point to our other parks via bicycle trail, as long as traffic's not flowing. And so if you can pick an off hour from the plants, it's a pretty good ride. If you pick a bad hour, it's a pretty bad ride. So, and a lot of people won't set foot on a roadway anymore because there's just too many close calls with that. But, I think that park is something that adds a lot to the entire area. And we have a lot of folks come and use the boat ramp. So there's a lot of stakeholders in that particular piece of ground. You got that boat ramp, you got Kentucky Division of Fish and Wildlife, possibly you got the Tennessee River Line, you got a Corps of Engineers, you got the city of Calvert City, and then Marshall County had maintained it prior to. So there's a lot of stakeholders there that need to be brought together into a master plan kind of notion, and probably get some help with people who are used to dealing with those kinds of river levels that change that dramatically, and get us something there that's both usable and maintainable. But that's something out there pretty far down the road. But maybe some money set aside in the budget this year for trying to do some studies on that or something. And I don't know that really, I want the Parks Board to be absolutely part of that, as much part of that as you want to be. And then certainly be aware of what, where we are on the redevelopment, if you will. But that's one of those things that got kind of, we mow it and do different things down there. Brad's folks have to go down there and mow it these days, and the county just stopped maintaining it for various reasons. And so that's something we have to deal with, or get to deal with. It's an opportunity. Blair, you got anything to add to that?
I do. In fact, we talked about it in our morning meeting this morning. The Tennessee River Line is going to come here in June 9th through the 12th. And they meet with leadership while they're here. And then they have a community planning session. So you invite the community in, and they kind of have a group discussion and then a breakout session, and you all come together. And the idea is that while they're here, they're gathering all of this information of what the community wants, what the leadership wants, where we're at. And then the part of this phase 2 of being a Tennessee River town, we get a conceptual drawing of a plan of a space. Wow. So like Haddock's-Berry. It's not out of our pocket. The Tennessee River Line provides it to us. So just like Gene was talking about it, they provide us with the information, and then we can use that information to apply for grants, and funding. So it's a great opportunity. Cool. But mark that on your calendar. June 9th. While they're here, they'll do a community plan, meet with leadership, and then we'll have a stewardship event where you can pick up trash.
Yeah, sometimes
9th through the 12th,
forget
isn't
that
it?
that's part of Calvert City.
Oh,
too.
yeah. So was that like a day use park for the county? Is that what they called those, or not really? They talk about like Big Bear is a day use park, and
There's not really lighting down there for evening, but
There was no trash either. I don't think, was there?
Huh?
Was there trash? Trash can?
yeah,
Did they
there
have
was,
trash
there was
cans?
trash, there was a picnic table under the pavilion. So we've got to replace those. And of course, it's a boat ramp. So, and that actually ties in, I think, well with the Tennessee River Line, simply because they're, the kayaking or canoeing and stuff of that nature, the paddling. So that'd be set up there. Well, I'm thinking about, we talked about the 10,000 toward the design characteristics of that. Did I tell you all, I don't know if I did or not, we actually received $3,000 from Kentucky League of Cities insurance services to apply toward our playground equipment. Oh, all right. Because we were upgrading it and making it safe. We got a $3,000 safety grant for that. So,
Every little bit helps.
What kind of ties, what kind of restrictions are we gonna have with getting that grant?
we've already got the money. It just has to go, on that playground. We have to use it for that purpose. So,
Anybody else have anything?
you guys have been very productive today.
Yes. Who would have known, a February meeting?
I appreciate you guys getting ahead of the game. It's gonna make it easier for staff to pull together what you need to make your decisions. So I do appreciate the
I
time.
mean, you kind of wish we had some big exciting project to work on,
Oh,
but
you got enough, believe you me. You got plenty there. I guarantee you there's several dollars in that list right along.
we got David's Bridge to Nowhere and then the YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about that. We were so close. They were like coming. Do you remember that? So close.
You hang on to that dream. You keep going.
I think I lost it. I think I'm too tired for that one. That was
We
like a
had to-
30s dream. Now I'm in the 40s. I'm not dreaming. My dream is now like, could someone else do a community garden? Oh, it's already being done. Perfect. I'm good. And maybe
had
put some
to-
label some trees. We're good.
We had the YMCA coming to the county, and I'm thinking in like 94 or 95. And
I had them come in. They were like meeting us, and they emailed me the day of and said the YMCA, the National YMCA, has pulled all funding for any project anywhere, so we can't come.
what year was that? What year was that?
Like 2000. What was that? I was like my first year on the board. I was like,
Wasn't that long ago.
Where-
5 or 6 years.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Something of that
yeah,
nature.
right
Yeah.
before we did the fountain. It was before the fountain,
Okay.
Yep. Well, I was there like 94, 95, but it was
or maybe when we were doing it. Like,
it wasn't Calvert City only.
that's funny. It's in our genes.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:05
Aye.
PM.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Appreciate you
guys. Thank
Appreciate
you.
all of y'all.
Almost had
Bye-bye.
missed this. I can't imagine.
Bye bye. Thanks, Jean.
Thank you. Well, you know what, you just tell me what you think.